Hello, how you doing today? I always thought, as I grew up, that maybe there was something different, about me, and I wanted to learn more about myself, what was going on in my world, and I just felt like, there were answers. There's so many answers that I wanted to know about, and I looked, and as I got out, I started noticing that I was blessed and I had skills that other people didn't have. I started singing. I got on the news and was singing, and I was making beautiful music. And people would tell me, as I started growing up, why don't you act black, be black? And I'm like, well, what is black? What is black? What is that? Who do I date? Like, what kind of person should black be? Who am I? So I just try to figure out, and so I wanted to dig into my history, and I found so much deep in my history, and that I wanted to change. Well, not really change, but want I did want to change it because I kind of felt like, that I was just somebody that came from descendants of slaves, and that's where I started, and that's who I am, a descendant of slaves. And then I realized, wait, there had to have been something before I was slaves, and it seems like black history started in the 1600s when I know that we were far away from that, and we wasn't what people were trying to tell me that we were. When I looked on TV and I looked on movies, I saw black attorneys are always in the same roles, and then the people that were intelligent and wanted to do something different, like made fun of them, like Carlton, or if you were black and was intelligent, they made fun of you. So as I started in my music, I wanted to go, different places, and people would try to tell me who I am, and I wanted to know who am I before that. So I did my own research, and I started wanting to know. So some of the first things that I was taught was that we started out with slavery. We were came here on some ship, and some people grabbed us and nabbed us, and they took us away, and we became like these slaves, and that's all we started as was slaves, and we kept to the different places, and we worked different places, and later on I found out we was actually programmed to think like we think today. A gentleman by the name of well, really a gentleman, but a man by the name is Willie Lynch, and his name was from the actual person that used to hang black people, and they would take the biggest, strongest black man that once we was over here in Africa, I mean in America, and they would tie horses to every limb of his body. So it'd be a horse on his left leg, horse on his right leg, horse on his right arm, a horse on his left arm, and then after that, they would even have a horse on his head, tied to his head. And they said, if you disobey us, this would happen. They cracked the whip, and then the horses would tear the biggest, strongest black slave that was there, and his body would go different ways. And then they grabbed all of the black men, and the rest of them, they whipped up in an inch of their life. And then they raped the women, and then they would put the smart blacks against the dumb blacks. They'd put the blacks that worked in the field against the people that worked in the house. They put the big Negro against the small Negro. They put the tall Negro against the short Negro. And Willie Lynch told them, if you do this, it will work for centuries and days. And so that's what they kept inbreeding, trying to tell us that we were not. And then I found out that it was really a secret. We didn't start as slaves. We started as something greater, something more magnificent than they don't want us to know who we really are. So I kind of felt like God was telling me that we are beautiful people, as blacks. And I think all races are beautiful, but I think all races have beautiful. I can pull up beautiful pictures of Asian women. I could pull up beautiful women, pictures of white women. I could put up beautiful pictures of Native American women. But I see that there's beauty in here, and I see that the beauty doesn't get very shown off on our media. It's kind of shunned, and they make fun of ghetto, nappy, and they try to say us as a natural state that we're different or we're not right, and everything that's supposed to be another way, and that they tell us that the land we come from is just destroyed, and that the people there are dirty. They all have AIDS. They all have living dysentery. But as I dove deeply into what Africa was, I saw these beautiful faces as I looked, And these are modern people of this time that you're seeing pictures of right now on my screen. These aren't people living in villages and sitting in a dung house. These are like everyday people, like us, and they live like they are, but they try to tell us that we're not. As I dug back, I found out that blacks go all the way to Egypt. In fact, there were black pharaohs. National Geographic came out and said there's black freaking pharaohs. That means there were black kings. There's many of them. Look at all these. They're black. This is National Geographic. This is just not me huffing and puffing. This is saying, oh my God, look at this. Blacks were living in Egypt. Blacks ran Egypt. Blacks was running things. And we were told we started out as slaves and that we were second class. I mean, not everyone says this, but I mean, it's kind of said that. But later on, you start looking at it and you're like, wow, this is like they were black pharaohs. Look at this beautiful queen right here. This was a queen from Africa. Look at these people that portrayed in Africa. And I'm sorry, in Egypt, on the Egypt walls. They left all this history for us to see. Look at that. That's Egyptian walls with black people on it. I wonder how many black people actually built the pyramids. People say they don't know who built the pyramids, but there's a lot of different faces on there. There's so many different looks. So many people, don't see that this is not ivory skin. This is some tan skin. And this is not the bright Egyptians that you see today. The Egyptians that you see today are, they're very light skinned. But these pictures are on the doggone walls of Egypt. You can't hide that. Look at this statue. It's just gorgeous. I mean, look at this other one. This is another one. Notice the snakes on the top of the head. Like, look at the hairstyles. Look at that. That's like proof that, like we were there. And people don't want us to know who or what we are. Like what we started as. They want us to think that we were just some dumb Neanderthals or something, or just throw spears or something, and every one of us have plates in our mouths. But the truth is, we have a long line. I don't see too many Europeans rocking this hairdo. I'm not to mention some of them can, and get away with it, look good too. But I'm straight up telling you that, history has lied to us, and they've been telling us, and it's right here for you to see. You can go look. Yeah, there's people that try to debunk it or whatever, but black is black. Like, black is black. I mean, it's right there for you to see. You can't tell me that this woman and I wonder why my eyes were slanted, and I come to find out, that, I'm just not just African American. I have Native American in me too, and I've already took that one. But I found out that this is Egyptian paintings of of um of like different things going on in Egypt. Like, these were black folks in Egypt. Now these people were blatantly like yellow, like reddish, and these people are blatantly black. A lot of people say the Sphinx nose was tore off because it was a black nose and they didn't want everyone to know. But if you start looking at it, they say some of the Israelites were indeed black. And then they actually started finding out that some of the black folks were casted out of Egypt and went with Moses. And actually they moved to Africa, trying to run from the Romans and all different other kinds of people that were after them. And then the Egyptians also, they were running from them, and they settled in Africa. And then the Africans saw them as foreigners and then sold them as slaves. So that's, a lot of people say, well, Africans sold the Africans, but they wasn't really. They were living in Africa. They wasn't from Africa. Some of them were from Egypt. Like, that's a deep thing. Like, are we supposed to be, a strong people? We are a strong people, but people try to erase our past and say that we're not beautiful people. Everyone knows the black man is strong. That's why I don't have any bunch of pictures of black men. But you don't see a lot of beautiful sisters on TV. I mean, just here recently, I start noticing a lot of beautiful ones. These right here are Hebrew Israelites, as I was telling you before. The a lot of people don't know that we a lot of I was brought, when I was a child, I was told we were brought up to be the chosen people, and it's true. I mean, there still are there African Americans that still practice the Jewish faith and been practicing it that all their life and generations and generations and generations. In fact, there's a village not too far in Africa that have that still are practicing. You know that it's doing it like they're still practicing like the old days. You know, and it's right there for us all to see. Here's some more Egyptian kings and stuff. As you start to look at them, you start to try to notice the black features. Everyone knows that African people or people that's from or and around Africa, they have American African Americans have been changing this world, but you can just look at that. That's just breathtaking. These are modern Africans. A lot of people they say go back to Africa, and if a lot of people say slavery, I mean not slavery. Well, they just say that racism doesn't exist. I bet you in 5 minutes I can prove that racism exists, and I'll do that one day for you. And it's a social experiment that will blow your mind. I'm going to actually prove that it exists because I deal with it literally every day. So I want to show you these are modern Africans and people say, "Oh, they're just fly infested and these and that they're not clean and all this stuff." And but the truth of it is, Africans are different colored people. Like they like we are people of many colors. And like these these are like this is African fabric. Like I just want you to see that these people they're not living in dysentery, and people say that when they think of Africa, they think of Africa as being these people that are just living in tribes. You can go in places in the United States that people live in this craziness, but there are people that that this is North Africa. Look how light they are. Like this is Africa. I'm like this is what it is. People want to say what is Africa? That it's a bunch of cities of people just living. But look at this person. He doesn't have like a bunch of dirty stuff all over him and flies all over him. They were just showing that to try to get you to give money to people. Africa's been the longest time as a place where people go and work and they find diamonds. And they think that Africans are just like slaves, but we come from far more than that. That's just another piece of our time. Like you know, it's gorgeous. Look at these beautiful African cities. A lot of people want to say that Africa is just all dirt and muck and there's nothing beautiful. Look at all these beautiful cities that are in Africa. They're gorgeous. City after city, picture after picture of Africa. Pictures of beautiful African cities. Wait, I thought they told me that the only time they showed me in Africa was when he's chunking a spear. Well, that's the extreme because they probably showing this. They won't. People want you to think that Africa is not beautiful African images of Africa. People want you to think these are the old Africa. These are like older cities. Like the places are gorgeous. These pictures and pictures. You can sit all day and look at beautiful pictures of Africa. And people tell us, "Oh man, Africa's blah 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 blah." But the thing about it is it's there for you to see. Like when you look at the Egyptian walls, you can see they made them black for a reason. There's a bunch of black statues, like black statues of Egyptians. Like it goes on and on. You can see the different pigmentations of here. Why would they paint one person reddish and then paint another person light? Look at this, reddish, light, 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 and then reddish, light, because they were people of different colors. There was blacks in there. I mean, there's black pharaohs for God's sake. Look at these beautiful children. Like a lot of people say that, they think that blacks don't understand that our genes are very rich. There's blacks with beautiful eyes. Like my pawpaw's one of them. They have these beautiful eyes. But you just start looking at these pictures. Look at the different colors. Like it wasn't just like a bunch of different, as you would think, white folks. They were straight up black folks. Look at this guy. He's white. This guy's kind of tan. This dude black. He black as all get out. Why would you paint them differently? My case in point is trying to show you that there's a difference. So that's it. You know, I'm Sam Soundful, and I wanted to make something positive